Hey guys, how's it going? Doing another video on the Model A now, but I have something more interesting to kind of show you guys. Not only have I actually gotten it freed up now, so it's actually going to be working properly, but I basically figured I'd cover a couple extra things that I hadn't actually talked about in the previous video when I was first just unboxing it. And a couple of things to note is that yes, is that I believe that this Model A does actually share the same motor as the original Model A, the first generation, in that this boss right here on the casting is actually where it would have been threaded and tapped to actually put the oil tube for the front bearing. And I do believe that in fact is a real oil port. Judging by the way that the motor kind of coasts and winds down, I'm pretty confident in assuming that these are actually using sleeve bearings. So this is using just a regular sleeve bearing, and there's nothing super special about it. And it does appear that it does actually need some brush work. You can kind of hear a little bit of that noise there, but it does appear that it needs to have the brushes probably at least cleaned. You can also notice it when it actually winds up, that it makes kind of that scrapey, brushy, scrapey and brushy noise. This is really about the only way I can describe it. But pretty much I'm probably going to have to actually end up getting brushes for it as well. But another thing that's interesting about it is that I've actually also found out why, part of the reason I didn't even realize that was cracked when I was taking the thing apart. But there actually is a pretty sizable chunk of the stator that's been cracked off of it. But I think that this is not going to be that much of an issue now. That I've kind of adjusted where the rotor is actually placed in the stator. But one of the interesting things about it is that this is actually a bit rarer of a Model A than I actually thought it really was, and I'll explain why. So I'll kind of remember the advertisement I had shown when I actually unboxed this siren. It actually went through the types of finishes that were available. So you could get it in brass or nickel, or copper or nickel, but you can also get it just painted in red. But one of the other options was porcelain enamel. Porcelain enamel is what's called vitreous enamel. It's basically what you'd see on very, very old barn lights and stuff like that. Those like kind of dish type reflectors. This is basically that same kind of older technology for actually coating metal, where they actually pretty much just spray on a powdered glaze, and then that glaze is baked, and it's basically it pretty much is just glass. It's basically like a porcelain that's actually stuck to the metal itself. And the only reason I could tell that was the case is because this is very clearly someone's very like lazy kind of spray paint job, and it didn't really come out that well. But I was really impressed with how well the white looked. And I was like, wow, that looks really good for being just spray paint. And I started looking a bit closer, and that's when I noticed all the little chips from where it had been hit, and the little chips of a porcelain that had actually come off of it. But that is extremely, extremely rare. I don't know of any Model A's that I've seen on eBay or like with other private collectors that actually have the porcelain finish on them. They're usually almost always like nickel, or they were nickel that ended up being painted, or they were actually just the red finish. But sadly, it's only the front cone that's actually the porcelain enamel, and it's not the whole thing. And that's probably why it looks so good, is because the enamel doesn't fade. It can't fade. It's not a pigment, it's glass. So it's incapable of fading, which is why it still looks as good as it did when it was first made. Just a little dirty, but that can just be pretty much cleaned up. I do think my plan with the siren is to actually make the whole thing white once I do get the parts from the other sirens, which you'll see in a later video. But I wanted to go ahead and actually give it a test video. So we're going to go ahead and give it a quick fire up. I'm going to do the same thing as my previous video with the F2. So I'm going to basically stand it up, set it off right here, and then I'm also going to put the camera back on that hill again, and we'll get a little bit of an ambience recording. And it's pretty nice because it's Sunday, so everyone's at church right now. So it's pretty quiet on Main Street. Let's go ahead and get to it. Now, one of the things that sucks about it is that it does have a very, very short cord. So this might be kind of difficult, but we'll try it out. Why'd they put the plug up so high? Not bad. Not bad. I heard a little bit of a scrape towards the end of it, so I'm kind of concerned about the making sure the rotor is still not kind of biting itself. But all right, let's go ahead and try to get an ambience test now. All right, so I think that pretty much just about sums it up for this video. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for joining the stream yesterday as well. It was a lot of fun talking to everyone and kind of getting a chance to show people how to use Fusion. I hope that some people actually learned something from it out of all my ramblings. But stay tuned for more siren videos in the future, and let me know if you want to see more of my sirens actually tested with like an actual ambience, because I think these videos come out pretty good with the way the ambience actually sounds. So I might actually go through and re-record all of my other sirens at this location, getting an actual ambience from them, because it sounds really, really good in this kind of area. But let me know if you'd like to see that. But I appreciate you guys watching. Comment, rate, and subscribe. You guys really don't have to do any of that kind of stuff, but it helps me out a lot and lets me know what you guys want to see. So I guess I'll see you guys in the next one.